Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the video for 017 HW1 Graphing Standard Form Inequalities. Now, graphing is definitely tough. To complete these problems, we first have to remember how to graph given an equation in standard form. That's the first thing you're going to need to remember. Or, you can manipulate the equation and solve for y and graph the equation in slope-intercept form. You could change all these standard form problems into slope-intercept form and graph like we've been doing using the graphing calculator. Now, this is how you do it via standard form. So here we go. Here's problem number 1. We have 2x plus 5y is less than negative 10. What we first want to do is solve for x by inputting 0 for y and solving for x. So when we put 0 in for y, 5 times 0 is 0. And what we have left over is 2x is less than negative 10. We divide by 2 to both sides and we get x is less than negative 5. So we make a dot on the negative 5 on the x-axis. Notice here in option A, negative 5 does not have a dot on it, or we're not crossing at negative 5. C, we're not crossing at negative 5. B, we're not crossing at negative 5. But D, we are. So we already know the answer is D, based on the options that are given. Next, though, we also want to find the y-intercept, just to make sure that it's negative 2. So we solve for y by inputting a value of 0 in for x and solving for y. So we put 0 in for x, 2 times 0 is 0. All that we have left over is 5y is less than negative 10. So 5y is less than negative 10. We divide by 5 to both sides, and we get y is less than 2. So we plot a point at negative 2. So negative 5, negative 2, like we have here in D. Once we connect the two dots via a dashed line, because it's just a less than, we're going to test the coordinate 0, 0, this coordinate right here in the middle of the graph. If this coordinate 0, 0 is telling us a true statement, we would shade this side of the line. If it's false, it would shade this darker side of the line, or in this other side of the line. So when we put 0 in for x and 0 in for y into our equation, 2 times 0 plus 5 times 0 is 0. 0 is less than negative 10. Well, we know that's false. So this point here, 0, 0 point, is false. So that means the other side of the wall is true. So we shade this other side of the wall. So we know for number 1, the answer is D. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, we're going to do the same process. We have 6x plus 5y is less than negative 15. We first want to solve for x by inputting 0 in for y. So we put a 0 in for y. So 5 times 0 is 0. So what's left over is 6x is less than negative 15. That's what I typed up over here. We divide by 6 to both sides, and we get x is less than 2.5. So our function needs to cross at 2.5. It could be A. It's not B. It's not C. It could be D. So we're down to A and D. So the next step is that we want to solve for y by putting 0 in for x. We put 0 in for x, so we have 5y is less than negative 15. We divide by 5 to both sides, and we get y is less than 3. It looks like that A could cross at negative 3, and D also looks like it could cross at negative 3. So both those options are very, very close to one another. Next, we're going to test the 0, 0 point, which in this case, 0, 0 doesn't work for either one of them. They're false. We put 0 in for x and y. 0 is less than negative 15, so we know that's false. So, how can we tell? Well, x is negative 2.5 and y equals negative 3. If you could see, the difference between A and D is that the y-axis here crosses more at 2.5 than actually 3. But in this case, this one's a little bit further down. Looks like it really crosses at negative 3, so our option will be D for number 2. That would be the correct answer, because it's a little bit lower. It looks like it crosses a little bit better at negative 3 than it does in option A. So the correct answer for number 2 is D. Number 3. We have 3x minus 2y is greater than or equal to negative 10. We first, by putting a 0 in for y, we solve for x. So negative 2 times 0 is 0. So 3x is greater than or equal to negative 10. We divide by 3 to both sides, and we get x is less than negative 3.3. Which it looks like A is out of the question. C looks like it's good. B looks like it's good so far, but D does not. So we cross out A and we cross out D. So we're left with B and C. Next, we solve for y by inputting 0 in for x. And we get negative 2y is greater than or equal to negative 10. We divide by negative 2 to both sides. And we get y is less than or equal to positive 5. So that's positive 5. That's a negative 5. So our correct answer is A. But to finish it off, in case if there's other close answers, we're going to test that 0, 0 point. We put 0 in for x, we put 0 in for y. Is 0 greater than or equal to negative 10? That is true. That's why the 0, 0 point is shaded. So 3 is A. Number 4, we have 3x plus y is greater than negative 2. We first solve for x by inputting a 0 in for y. So we put 0 in for y. So we have 3x is greater than negative 2. Divide by 3 both sides, and we get x is greater than negative 2/3. So we have to go to negative 2/3. Looks like A is out of the question. C looks like it's good. B does not. D looks like it's good. So we're down to C and D, because the line crosses approximately at negative 2/3 on both C and D. Next, we have to solve for y by inputting a 0 in for x and solving for y. So we put a 0 in for x. 3 times 0 is 0. And y is greater than negative 2. So we look here. That's at negative 2. That's at negative 2. So they're both crossing. Their lines are both correct at C and D. Now we just got to know which way to shade. Am I going to shade above the line or below the line? And we're going to test that 0, 0 point. As you can see, this one's in option C, it's not shaded. In option D, it is shaded. So when we put 0, 0 in to this equation, 3 times 0 is 0. Y is 0. So is 0 greater than negative 2? Well, that's a true statement. Since 0, 0 is true, we have to shade that 0, 0 point, or the entire side of the 0, 0 point. So option D is our correct answer for number 4. Now, if you're having any questions, please come to Extra Help. This stuff is tough. So if you have any questions, please ask during class or come to Extra Help, and I'll be happy to work with you one-on-one. All right, the rest of the problems, it's for you to complete on your own. Best of luck, and have yourself a good night.